The Fox & Hound 18 gigabit per second generator analyzer testing kit was built as the ideal testing unit for all custom and commercial integrators. The Fox & Hound test kit comes with an 18 gigabit per second generator and an 18 gigabit per second analyzer. These tools allow you to confirm the correct bandwidth, HDCP version, resolution, timing, HDR metadata, and many more options that could cause system hiccups if not treated correctly. The Fox & Hound kit is a product that can produce and analyze the newest and highest resolutions. It's also affordable enough for every integrator to have on every install or service call. First, we'll take a look at the connections on both the generator and the analyzer. On the generator, on the top panel, first you have an HDMI connection. This is where you connect an HDMI cable to test the device that you want to send a signal to. Next to that, we have the USB connection, which is going to be used for things like firmware updates. And then last, we have the DC 5-volt connection, which will be used to charge the unit. Also, when you plug in the 5-volt charging power supply, you do get a red light letting you know that the unit is charging. If we take a quick look at the analyzer, it is very similar. We have an HDMI connection, which is going to be an input, so any device that you want to test is going to plug in here. Then, of course, you have the mini USB, again for firmware updates, just like on the generator. And then the same 5-volt connection for charging the unit. To power the unit off or on, we're going to press and hold the power button. There are two lights on the front of both the generator and analyzer just underneath the LCD screen. The first light is the HDCP light, and that's an indicator that there is an HDCP encryption on the signal that's coming out of the generator. Then we have next to that the status light. As long as that light is green, that means there is a 5-volt connection and the generator does see another device on the other end, whether that's the analyzer or a display that you might be testing. On the analyzer, it's very similar. We have an HDCP light down here underneath the LCD screen. Again, that lets you know that the signal coming into the analyzer has HDCP encryption. And then the status light, much like the generator, that just lets you know that there is a 5-volt detection between the analyzer and whatever you have plugged into the analyzer. Anytime you're in a menu and you need to toggle between selections and choose a selection, we'll use the up and down arrows to toggle between all the different selections. And once you find a parameter or a setting that you like, confirm it with the OK button. At any time, no matter what you're doing, the back button will always take you back to the preview screen. The main LCD screen of the generator will always show you the current test pattern that's being sent out, plus the resolution and frame rate of that signal. You can also see the rev number, which is the firmware version, that's currently loaded onto the generator. To check the status of the battery, press the auto button, and you'll see the battery status displayed in the lower left corner of the LCD screen. Next, we'll take a look at some of the buttons on the generator. The first button that we're going to look at is the 4K button. After pressing the 4K button, you're now brought into the 4K timing menu, and by using the up and down and OK buttons, we can now select a 4K resolution of different frame rates to send out of the generator. So for example, if I wanted to send out 3840 by 2160 at 24 Hertz, I would use the down button till I get to slot number 3 and then press OK. Now you'll notice that that resolution is highlighted in red, so we know that is the resolution coming out of the generator. To exit this menu, press the back button. One neat little trick about the generator is if you wanted to send out full maximum bandwidth for the HDMI spec, you can press and hold the 4K button and the generator will automatically max out all of its settings so you're putting out a full 18 gigabit per second signal. This is very useful for testing different products such as displays or testing the infrastructure of your system. Next, we'll take a look at the button labeled 1080. Once you press the 1080 button, you will see all the available resolutions that are in 1080 with different frame rates available as well. Use your up and down buttons to choose a 1080p resolution or a 1080i resolution that you'd like to use, and then press OK to select it. The next button we'll look at is the 720 button. After pressing the 720 button, you'll see that there's a couple of different 720 resolutions that are built into the generator. To choose one or the other of the 720p resolutions, use the up and down arrows, press OK. Then we'll take a look at the VESA button. Once you press the VESA button, you'll see all of the available VESA resolutions that are built into the generator. So for example, if we wanted to use 1366 by 768 at 60 Hertz, we'll use the down arrow to choose that resolution, press OK. Now that that's highlighted in red, we know that the generator is putting out 1366 by 768 at 60 frames per second. And now for the SD button. After pressing the SD button, you'll see all of the available standard definition resolutions and frame rates that are available to choose from. Use the up and down arrows and the OK button to choose the resolution and frame rate that you'd like. Now let's take a look and see what the auto button does. If the auto button is pressed, the generator will automatically set the output based on the EDID of the connected device. This is also a great menu to check out if you just need to see the EDID and see some of the specifics of the display or the sync device that you're plugged into. So in this example, we're plugged into a Samsung TV. It's asking for 3840 by 2160 at 60 frames per second. And if you look at the rest of the list, those are the things that the TV is asking for from the device that's plugged into it, which could be the source or maybe a repeater device. Next, we'll take a look at the HDCP button. Once in the HDCP menu, you can choose the version of HDCP to encrypt the signal with. You can also turn the HDCP off, which can be very helpful if you're just trying to test the signal integrity, just trying to make sure that signal is getting from one end of the system to the other. The choices are off, HDCP 1.4, and HDCP 2.2. When you have the selection chosen that you'd like, simply press the OK button. Now HDCP 1.4 is illuminated in red. Now this signal coming out of the generator will be encrypted with HDCP version 1.4. Next, let's take a look at the color button. Once you're in the color menu, you can now pick a color space and a bit depth for the kind of signal that you want to send out of the generator. We use the up and down buttons to choose a specific selection, and then we'll use the OK button to make the selection. So in this case, we'll choose slot number 2, RGB full 10-bit, and press OK. Now that's highlighted in red, so the generator is going to be putting out an RGB full signal at 10 bits. Next is the HDR button. Once you're in the HDR menu, you can see all the available different versions of HDR that are available in the generator. Our selections are off, HDR10, and HLG. To make a selection, use the up and down buttons and press OK. The generator can output an audio test tone for confidence testing. Press this button to see the available audio stream options. Once in the audio menu, use the up and down and OK buttons to select the desired audio signal. The choices are 2-channel, 8-channel, and mute. Use mute if you do not need to test audio. The A and B buttons allow the user to save and select a pre-configured preset. The user can use these presets as shortcuts to their most used video formats. One preset can be addressed to each button, giving the user a total of 2 presets. To save a preset, first generate a signal with the desired video parameters that you'd like. In this case, I've got 1080p 24, RGB 8-bit, with no HDCP and no HDR. To save this preset, I'll press and hold either A or B. There's a save configuration page, and to save to preset A, we're just going to press OK. Now it says success, so now at any point if I press the A button, that's my preset for that specific video output. The generator does have some built-in test patterns that will help you set up the video system and make adjustments to the display. Press the up and down buttons to toggle between all of the available test patterns. When you find the test pattern that you want to display, press OK. The geometry pattern is used to adjust the display's screen size and aspect ratio, or to line up a projector to a screen. The grayscale pattern is used to adjust the display's color temperature or white balance. The white level/contrast test pattern is used to calibrate the white level of the display. Looking from left to right, you should see all of the gray and white vertical bars in the pattern. Use the display's white level or contrast control to make this adjustment. The black level test pattern is used to calibrate the black level of a display. Looking at the pattern from left to right, you should see all of the black and gray vertical bars in the pattern. Use the display's black level/brightness control to make this adjustment. This pattern is called the RGB CMYW clipping pattern. This pattern shows you each primary and secondary color plus white. Looking at the pattern from left to right, each color transitions from dark to bright. The transition from dark to bright should be smooth with no visible artifacts or clipping. The SMPTE bars are a universal standardized test pattern developed by the Society of Motion and Picture Television Engineers. This is primarily used to adjust the color saturation and the hue/tint of a display. The multi-burst pattern can be used to adjust the bit mapping on a display. The lines should be straight and free from artifacts and edge enhancement. This pattern can also be used to set up a two-piece projection system. This is the RGB CMY white and black color bars. This pattern can be used to visually confirm the correct color saturation and hue or tint of a display. The next 8 test patterns are simply the primary and secondary colors plus black and white. These can be used for confidence testing to ensure that the display is reproducing the correct colors. And the last test pattern is the checkerboard pattern. This can be used to measure the contrast ratio of a display or an entire video system. Next, we'll take a look at the analyzer, and we'll start off with the volume up and down controls. The volume up and down buttons will control the volume of the incoming audio signal. Turn this down to 0 if you want to mute the incoming audio. Now we'll look at the EDID select button. Because the analyzer acts as a sync device, when you press the EDID select button, you will see a selection of built-in EDIDs that are in the analyzer. Down at the bottom, slots number 6 and 7 are reserved for your user EDIDs. Once you highlight the EDID that you want to use, go ahead and press the OK button. And now the analyzer is acting as a sync device with the EDID that you just selected. Now we'll take a look at the resync button. The resync button triggers a hot plug event between the analyzer and whatever device it's plugged into. This can be especially helpful when you're troubleshooting. Using the resync button is just like unplugging the HDMI cable and plugging it back in without actually having to do it. Next, let's look at the active EDID button. The active EDID button will tell you the EDID that the analyzer is currently set to. Oftentimes, this is used in conjunction with the EDID select button. So for example, if we wanted to set the EDID on the analyzer to 4K 60 3D2 channel, we would select that in the EDID setup menu, and then to confirm that that is the correct EDID, you would press the active EDID button and make sure that is actually the EDID of the analyzer. Now we'll take a look at how to do a cable test. The cable test button is designed to be used with the generator to test HDMI cables for integrity and for bandwidth. Once you have the analyzer connected to the generator with the cable that you'd like to test, go ahead and press the cable test button. You'll notice that there's 6 different options to choose from here. You can start with slot number 1, which is a full 18 gigabit per second test. If that's the bandwidth that you'd like to test the cable for, go ahead and press OK. Then the cable test will start. First, it checks to make sure there's a 5-volt connection. As long as there is, that should come up OK. And then data channels 0, 1, and 2 are the TMDS channels. Those show 0 errors right now. That's good. Then the DDC channel passes and the hot plug passes. So if I were testing this cable to use in an installation, I know I can trust it for 18 gigabits per second. If you go back to the main cable test menu, you can then test the cable for different bandwidths and different formats all the way down to 1 gig if needed. Then here we have the HDCP button. This HDCP button will allow you to choose which version of HDCP will be accepted into the analyzer. Use this to emulate a sync device such as a display for troubleshooting HDCP issues in the signal chain. HDCP 2.2 plus 1.x means that all versions of HDCP will be accepted. Choosing 1.x means that only version 1 of HDCP will be accepted. HDCP 2.2 means that only HDCP version 2.2 will be accepted into the analyzer. And last, choosing no HDCP means that only signals coming into the analyzer with no HDCP encryption will be accepted. Now we'll look at the video button. At any time, if you press the video button, that'll show you the live feed of the signal coming into the analyzer. Next, let's take a look at the audio button. The audio button will monitor the amplitude of the incoming audio signal, and you can view this for up to 8 channels. Now we'll see what's under Info. The Info button will display all of the vital information related to the incoming video signal. View the timing, color space, the version of HDCP, total bandwidth, and more. Then finally, we'll look at the EDID copy buttons, both A and B. You can copy up to 2 EDIDs into the analyzer. Go ahead and plug the analyzer into the device that you want to capture the EDID from. In this case, I'm plugged into a display. To copy the EDID from the display, press and hold either the A or B button. In this case, I'm going to press and hold A. The analyzer is going to ask me if I want to copy the EDID to buffer A. I'm going to press OK. Now we see success. Now the EDID of this display is copied into the analyzer under slot A. Now to find and use that EDID, press the EDID select button, and then scroll up or down until you get to slot number 6, which is user A, and press OK. Now the analyzer has the exact same EDID as the display we were just plugged into under user A. At any point, if you press the info button on the analyzer, you'll see all the vital statistics that are pertaining to the incoming video signal. You'll also see the status of the battery and the current rev number, which is also the firmware version, that's currently loaded onto the analyzer. Thank you for watching this training video on the Fox & Hound HDMI testing kit. We hope you found it informative, and if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to give us an email at info@murideo.com.